The gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Krishnamoorthi, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner, for being here today. Sir, I'd like to turn your attention to this chart I have here to my right. This chart shows us the length and detail of reports released after recent NFL investigations. On the far right is Deflategate, which examined the air pressure in footballs used by Tom Brady. And following that inquiry, you released a 243-page detailed report. Next to it is the Miami Dolphins sexual harassment inquiry, and after that you released a 148-page detailed report. And next to that bar is the Ray Rice domestic violence situation, where you released a 96-page detailed report following that inquiry. Now, with regard to the Commanders, unfortunately, we received a 5-page press release, sir. Now, sir, you had mentioned that the reason for the press release as opposed to a detailed finding, as you had in the other cases, was because of privacy concerns. Isn't that right?
That was one of the issues, yes.
However, I have this 148-page Miami Dolphins harassment report that you did where you have redacted the names of various individuals out of privacy concerns. And so it is possible to release a detailed report and at the same time protect people's privacy, yet you chose not to do so in this particular case with the Commanders. Sir, I'd like to turn your attention to 2009. You're aware that in 2009, Dan Synder was accused of sexually assaulting an employee on a private airplane, correct?
Am I aware of that? Yes. I'm aware of that allegation.
And sir, Mr. Synder settled those claims for $1.6 million, but he did not inform you in 2009 that he'd been accused of sexual assault, correct?
I don't recall him informing of that, no.
And failing to report such an incident under the league's personal conduct policy would be a violation of that policy, right?
It's an element of the policy that they're supposed to report incidents that would violate the policy, yes.
And moreover, the policy requires that the NFL handle all inquiries into sexual allegations, sexual assault allegations, not the team. However, in this particular case, the Commanders themselves handle the inquiry. So that's yet another violation of the personal conduct policy. Isn't that right?
Well, Mr. Chairman, this is something that our personal conduct policy has gone through changes over the last, I would say, last 15 years. Significant changes to take care and address issues that we see need clarifications. And clearly we made significant changes in 2014 with our personal conduct policy because we believe.
But the NFL is supposed to be in charge of the investigation, right?
Today, that is absolutely correct, yes.
And if the sexual assault allegations are substantiated, that assault would obviously be a violation of the personal conduct policy as well, because sexual assault is a violation of the personal conduct policy in the NFL, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, let me direct your attention to the case of Tiffany Johnson. She came before us and testified before me at the February roundtable and answered my questions, basically alleging that Mr. Synder intentionally touched her in a sexual manner against her will during a work dinner. And that is why you hired Mary Jo White to investigate those allegations, correct?
That is correct.
And as you sit here today, you don't have personally, any knowledge of evidence that would dispute her allegations as you sit here today.
That's an ongoing investigation that's being handled by Mary Jo White. She's very capable of doing that.
And if it's substantial,
report back to me when she's completed the investigation, and we made a commitment.
If it is substantiated, Ms. Johnson's sexual battery claim would certainly warrant further disciplinary action, correct?
It's an ongoing investigation, so it would be inappropriate for me to comment on that. But we've said before that we would consider discipline if the results of the investigation warranted.
So let me ask you this. You called the Commander's workplace not only unprofessional but toxic for too long. Sir, in your view, is Dan Synder's behavior and the workplace culture he created and fostered one of the worst and most toxic you've seen in your time as commissioner and your decades of service with the NFL?
I have not seen a workplace in the NFL that is anywhere near what we saw in the context of that period of time for the Washington Commanders.
Sir, with all the challenges we have going on as a country, why is it important that we still put an end to sexual harassment and the toxic work environment at the Washington Commanders?
The
Well, I
gentleman
think
may,
we have,
the gentleman may
Mr.
answer,
Chair.
but the gentleman's time has expired. You may answer, but his time has expired. Yes, Mr. Goodell, go ahead.
I think we have made those changes, and as I said, it's verified by independent auditors that the changes have been made in the organization, and we'll continue to do that. But I don't think any of us want to have workplaces that are not safe, not allow all of our employees to feel safe and to be productive without harassment or without discrimination or any other issues that would be negative in a professional workplace.